and gentlemen, we have our top squads, but it's time to figure out who is going to get to play against Vici, and we have a stacked panel to figure this out. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Cat, Fox, and No Tail. Okay, so
you could have just said No Tail, honestly.
That's why I said him last.
We're irrelevant
I was like,
at this point.
Fuck, and No Tail. I got the point across. I got the point across. But let's actually, before we talk about these squads, I kind of want to pick your brain just a little bit. You get to see Secret and Vici. Does it seem like Secret is just far and above the most dominant squad here?
It does seem like Secret have a super good mentality going for them. You see that even when the game is not going their way and things are looking rough and the enemy makes one mistake, they just suddenly seem like they're back and they're in control. They always look for the comeback. They don't seem like they ever tilt. Plus, they're really good. Like, their new roster is really working out for them. I mean, Matu, Nisha, they seem to be in perfect synchronization, and they look to be the strongest team here. Yeah, it's very cool to watch. I love watching that kind of Dota.
Yeah, it's been an absolute blast. I feel like this entire tournament, I think it was right around day 2 or day 3, we talked about it a lot. All of a sudden, every matchup just seems so evenly matched. We were going to game 3 with pretty much every matchup. It just was Secret and Vici that looked a little bit ahead. But let's start to shift gears a little bit and actually talk about EG versus Alliance and how we think these two teams do stack up. Fog, do you think that there is a clear favorite in this one?
Yeah, I'd have to favor EG. I think across the majority of their games, they have looked really strong. They have shown their weaknesses, but I think that's when they've been playing against these teams that just seem to know the way that they play. But I feel like Alliance, in a lot of their games, I do feel like they get affected a lot during it. I think that even when they have these winning games, or even when they are let's say losing it, I see it in their gameplay. They start making these mistakes that I wouldn't traditionally see these players do. So I think they get affected a lot during the games, in comparison to, I guess, like EG, who I think they stay a little bit more positive, at least.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much the opposite of what we just heard No Tail say when he's talking praises. On the other hand, of Secret, sometimes we do see Alliance, I don't want to say crumble, but we see them in certain games. It does seem like they do get affected, and they have a tough time trying to find those opportunities to come back, Austin.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Evil Geniuses, they're easily one of the best squads here. So against one of the toughest opponents, Alliances, with some of those mistakes they're going to be making, they're going to be exploited a little bit better than, say, a team like Liquid. And Liquid, they already had a very tough series, and I think that's something that can play a part into it. I've talked to a lot of different players about this, whether it's the momentum or whether it's being able to study your opponent or be able to play fresh. No Tail, I'm sure you've had some very long days at TI. You had some long series. Do you think playing in a 10 series like they did against Liquid, do you think that benefits Alliance or hurts them? Or is that entirely based on the team?
I think that's very team-based. Some teams will function much better under these conditions. Some teams function worse under those conditions. I would say what matters more is the state of mind of the team, because a weak state of mind will also mean less. You can handle less games, you can handle less of a day or before you're fed up with each other, whereas a really strong team, they might get more energy from playing games.
Do you think that's where a strong leadership, strong captaining is very important?
I think it's a crucial mix in the soup that makes a very good team, but your team makes your team. Everybody carries a lot of responsibility, so you can't put it all on one guy. I know that a lot of players, they look for a lot of leadership. I think what really good leadership is it teaches people that they can do more, and that they take on more responsibility, and that makes a really good team, and that also makes it easier for the captain. And when the captain's happier, the teammate is happier. We very quickly go into a negative or positive spiral thing here. Because you say leadership, I think leadership is a very crucial mix, but even the best leadership in the world can't do it with the wrong group of guys.
Well, you talk about leadership. I think it's time to take a look at someone I know you know very well. Let's hear what Fly had to say.
So, I mean, we just watched a match between Liquid and Alliance. It was pretty close. And I think both teams are pretty good. We played against Liquid in the group stage where we managed to win a very close 2-1 against them. Alliance, we haven't really played very often, so I'm not sure what to think about them that much. But, they look strong today, so who knows?
Yeah, I think instantly we hear that idea of how do they look today. You really do need to assess that. But overall in the field, I want to talk about something that Fogged had mentioned very briefly. You said throughout the tournament, when looking at EG, you felt like some of their weaknesses were potentially revealed. What do you think those weaknesses might be?
Well, I think that they've fallen into some traps of maybe going for just Arteezy going for this super farming hero where he needs to win the game by himself, where I don't think they need to do it all. They have Abed, this superstar player. I think when they put him on like any type of hero that can be this like mid-game type of carry. But then when they pick Arteezy, this like super carry hero, I feel like you're just like, you're telling him, and maybe in his head, maybe in his mentality, I need to farm the game. I need to really just like try so much myself in order to win. But you just put Abed on these like half kind of carries, these semi carries, and I think it's just so beneficial for them, in my opinion.
I see that Abed has kind of filled the shoes of Sumail in that team, and they're looking at him like Sumail was, in my opinion, a very integral part of many of their wins. And when you have a star player who's that good at clicking his buttons, you definitely want to use that. And Abed has been shining really hard on this roster.
Oh yeah, I think he's going to be an important key to how far Evil Geniuses go in this tournament, because his Storm Spirit game, that was making me flash back to the Sumail Storm Spirit of old, right? So good, and against so many counters, he was just a monster in the game. He took over.
I do want to bounce back really quick to their opponents. We got to listen to Fly. Let's hear what their opponents have to say.
I think we're going to win, obviously. Like we kind of built out our strategies coming into the tournament, and I think that so far, like, we found a bunch of really good stuff, really interesting heroes, and I think us and EG have kind of similar ideas about the heroes that we think are strong, but I think we kind of got it figured out more than they did. I think we're going to have draft advantage in the games, so I'm pretty confident in playing them, and we'll see how it goes.
Confidence, definitely in no shortage of supply. I feel like, I mean, you've been in situations like this. How do you not say that you're going to win in the interview? I feel like that's a pretty bad omen when I hear a team not going to win, but then at the same time, Secret and Vici in both of their interviews were like, yeah, we're not really happy with our performances at all in the tournament, so.
I don't know, man. I love that. I love that interview, though. That gave me so much. That made me a fan. Dude, the way he was talking, that gave me shivers as well. I felt like these guys are prepared, man. They came in with papers. Did you see Hanskin's papers in the other draft?
We're gonna.
I'm a huge fan. I'm a fucking believer.
There we go. We're gonna take a brief moment to actually look and see what are on those papers, and then when we return, we're gonna figure out who's gonna take this one, EG or Alliance.
Rick Gaming Esports, professional esports house maker.
Multiple witnesses have reported mysterious shadow sightings all around the city. According to experts, the origin of these shadows is
tough job to do here. It is time to eliminate another team. Only one of these squads is going to make it to the top 3. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's make some noise for EG and Alliance. Alliance already today has put up an impressive performance. EG going to be coming in fresh and rested. The question is, who's going to make it to the top 3 to play against Vici for a spot in the grand final? We already started to talk about these teams quite a bit. We're going to be getting in the draft very quickly here, and then we will get that first game underway. Let's start to talk about some of the things that maybe we expect to see from these 2 squads based off of what we've already seen. Cap, anything in particular that you're just saying, I think that we might see this here?
Well, I thought it was really interesting that 33 pointed out that they felt like both teams had similar ideas in drafts because at least when it comes to their most played heroes, there's not a whole lot of overlap there, right? With Evil Geniuses, some of those hard carries, they're picking up the OD and Storm Spirit and Slark quite a bit. And the other side, Alliance, their most picked are a lot of supports in the mix, like a lot of early picked supports. And then on top of that, just mid-game heroes, right? Lifestealer, Gyrocopter, a fair amount of those.
Yeah, no, definitely. It actually is, that is really interesting, actually. I didn't think they really shared too much because I feel like Limp has his own style of play in comparison to Abed. Like, Limp, I feel like, is more of this, he can do his carry thing, but he's more of like the supporty role. Well, I think Abed, he's like the carry a lot of the times. He's the secondary carry, so that is really intriguing.
And what I see mostly when I look at Alliance and also what 3-3 said in the interview is that they have a better read on the patch. I feel like some of these teams, they just have a better read on the patch than others. I mean, that's also the nature of things. That's how Dota often works. But it's also very related to how much you play. Like the team that is grinding it out is also where certain qualifiers can help you and so on. I have the feeling, I don't know if it's true, that teams like Liquid and Alliance, they played a lot of Dota, maybe more than teams like EG and other teams. And I don't know if that if that's what makes it feel this way, but I feel like Nico Baby Gyro and Nico Baby Snakes is different from the other guys. And it's also how they make it work as a team and what they do with the neutral items. And I also think they talk about different things than what other teams are talking about right now.
Yeah, definitely, especially like the last few months when I've watched Alliance, this is the best I've seen any of these players play when they've started, right? Like Limp and Hanskin, these guys have been on like these tier 2, tier 3 squads for quite a long time. They came to this team and they look like completely different. They just seem to have a much better understanding. Do you think that's maybe a lot in like because of Fada? Like what he can bring to the table for them? Because I felt like he definitely helps a lot.
So obviously I played with Fada back in the day, and everybody that's ever played with Fada all agree on the same thing, that he's an incredibly gifted and talented Dota player and really smart about the games and the things that he say. When I look at him now, I see this fire under him. I see he's really, really motivated. I think somebody pissed him off. Maybe he pissed himself off. I don't know what happened, but he is fired up, and I think he's a big source of the team, like source of inspiration or source of drive. I mean, I'm really happy to see them. They're growing. Like Alliance is becoming a force to be reckoned with.
Fada, for me, feels like he's gone through some sort of metamorphosis, not just from changing roles, but also like taking part as being a captain. Like he was a very private individual before. You got the chance to talk to him. He was very passionate about Dota, but he closed off a lot of his like personal life, and in a way that he kept to himself quite a bit, just loved the game. And now it feels like he has to be a little bit more out there, right? Because he's the face of the team. He's the captain role. And I love the fact that, I don't know if it's his presence, but it feels like these pieces of the puzzle complement each other so well, right? Limp looks better because he's got Nico Baby as like a game winner for them, right? He can lock that in. I feel like Hanskin looks better because he was able to play the 4. He never wanted to be a 5 in the first place, but he kind of took that role upon himself because he had others with him that wanted to play the 4. But now he's in his role. He's in his position where he can use all that technical talent that he has to be able to excel.
That was something Kyle really talked about a whole bunch with Hanskin in particular. I mean, they go way back, right? All the way back to the Han days, as Kyle loves to remind us. But the thing is he kept saying that it does feel like he's finally managed to be in the role that he does want to be in. And then on top of that, I think you said it really well, Cap. It seems like Fada's having this metamorphosis. And then on top of that, he's drafting against all these people that he knows very well, that he has played with. You talk about the history that he has in the scene, the people that he's played with. Now he's able to go head-to-head with them and use some of the stuff that he maybe learned from them against them, No Tail. So very interesting dynamic there.
I think they have a good relationship, Hanskin and Fada. Most often you see teams build a sort of a hierarchy where there's a number 1 and a number 2, and often it's position 4 and position 5, and I think the same thing is going on in this team. Obviously, you want to use all your players. 3-3 seems like a very smart guy. I'm sure he's allowed some speaking time as well.
Well, there's one hero that ties the two of them together, the Enchantress. Both Alliance and EG have made pretty good use of it, while not all of the squads had. Another one being another tie between them is just the 5 positions. I feel like that's probably more of a meta thing, though. Defensive 5s are a big thing for both Fly and Fada. Trees, Winter Wyverns, Liches.
Every single team that goes up against EG in particular, and you bring up Alliance as well, I think we see that this Ench be a first phase ban pretty much every single time.
Spoink.
I wonder if Alliance it's in her head still from that earlier series about the IO, right? I think we were talking about backstage, Noto, where we were saying like, you know, they picked the IO openers and then they got AA'd and then they lost and they're just completely deterred from picking it. I wonder if EG is going to try to maybe use that to their advantage versus Alliance.
Yeah, it's also a lot of pressure on, I mean, depending on which state of mind you want to be in, but Alliance could pick the IO gyro, look at EG, leave the AA in the pool and be like, you have one chance. If EG, if they lose the game with AA, they're not just giving away the first game, they also have to ban IO the next game because they're not going to feel confident with their best counter, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, anything can work, and you can definitely pick IO gyro and still beat AA. There's nothing says that you can't.
Is that something that you did a lot in your time with Seb? Is in that first game, put something out there to see if you could just get that advantage going into game 2 for the draft?
Yeah, I think this is what some of the older captains are much better at doing because it was something that we actually talked a lot about. It's how you approach the whole series and how the meta always developed within the series. And once you have that state of mind and you start thinking about the wins and the losses and the outcomes, you kind of play a little more with what you want to do in game 1 because you got to win 2 anyway.
Right.
So yeah, what you do in the first game might get the second one for free or vice versa.
I feel like they're setting up for it too. I see that Wyvern ban. I know it's a really popular hero, but yeah, EG won't let them have it.
Yeah.
So
this is where I would say that Dota is very similar to chess when we come to gambits. Like we talk about or whatever how you pronounce it, gambits.
Yep.
And yeah, you make these trades knowingly or sacrifices knowingly, right? Like you make it in a certain game knowing that you have to play against the counter, and yeah, the game, like the draft already is very directed from the start.
So one big difference to chess, though, obviously, is we have chat. We have Twitch chat, and I know that Fogged and Cap already know this. But No-Tail, I don't know if you know. I've learned absolutely everything about Dota from Twitch chat. That's why I am so incredibly high IQ. Yeah. Thank you for. No, everybody, I'm clipping that. I'm going to have my mom have that playing on loop in the house at all times.
No context. Don't give her the context.
He's so good. Rich is so good at that. But so chat has said countless times that they think that EG has relatively flat drafts. Do you think that that's a criticism that has validity to it? Or do you think that chat is being overcritical?
I mean, okay, if I'm my inner Twitch chat viewer, yeah, they're boring. Pick something new, pick techies, pick Pudge, of course. If I'm Twitch chat.
Yeah.
But as a competitor and as a Dota player, that's the funniest nut. It's the nut that doesn't change. It's like the old TI3 alliance. You don't quite see it so often. I would say that you have teams that become super specific. Ever since TI 6 or 7 was such a big hero pool, you didn't have that degree of like. I would say, yeah, like no diversity in what you pick. But EG, they do pick very similar right now. They're the team that's very comfort-based and make their own strats really work for themselves.
It does mean they're a very stable team, oftentimes, right?
Yes,
they always going to
stability.
place very well at tournaments, maybe not claiming the actual championship, but oftentimes seen in that top 3, particularly 3rd. Yeah. I think for this draft, right, I felt like EG was saying, hey, you can take Dream Protector and we're going to counter it, but Alliance didn't actually take that.
Yeah, I'm really curious. They did this earlier, right? They did the puck pick and they actually left it as a core, and the Alliance actually got super punished when they did it the last time, but...
I think that both their position 4 and 5 are huge on the puck. Like, you have Hanskin, who's been playing, I don't know if you know, but in pubs he was spamming this puck forever. Yeah. And Fada as a core, he's always loved the split pushing heroes, and Puck has been #1 creep wave killer this patch ever since they got the Waning Rift change. And so I think this is a very much Alliance-esque hero.
Okay, so they pick an instant disable in order to deal with that Puck.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe it might be like that Rubik or something along those lines, but no, I think the Shadow Shaman is something we've only seen once. I think in this tournament so far. I think it was Kaka who played it.
You see Lion more than Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, I'm a huge Shadow Shaman fan. I still prefer Rasta to Lion. I was just thinking because I remember Fada playing some Warlock not too long ago. He was playing Warlock last month, I think, in some of the games. I see these two heroes. what they don't like is this big AoE, and they could be facing it right now. They'll just die to a couple of spells. But the two supports that they have for themselves, EG, makes it really hard to split push.
Well, you said it. They have a unique idea on Lifestealer. They seem to be ahead of everybody else, and apparently Alliance is willing to pick potentially 2 cores in the very first phase, though I feel like this leads more towards the Puck being support.
I would like so as well, especially when you're playing versus an instant disable. I think when you put this here as a core and you're playing versus like a Hex or something, it can sometimes just be really crippling. But I love the Infest combo. I think this is always just, this is something that I feel like that teams have strayed away from lately when they pick the Lifestealer, but I think it's still just so damn strong when you have the possibility to do it.
Yep. This makes Rasta very sad. This makes Rasta very sad if you get to play on next bomb and fights just happen like that.
Yeah.
I do want to bring up something that Fog mentioned. So No-Tail drew that parallel to chess. There's a saying in poker, which I'm much more familiar with than chess, as some of you may have guessed. But you say, don't think Roddy. Don't use results-oriented thinking. So you said with the Puck early pick last time, they got punished. Do you think that going with that line of play and saying, okay, we're not going to get punished every time we do it, it might be the right way to open, maybe we start off with 2 cores, do you think that that is a valuable risk to take here in the first game against CG?
Sure, why not?
Maybe they're really bad against Puck.
Yeah, maybe.
Some teams are really bad against certain heroes.
Okay. And it's still their comfort style, like you were saying, and then it also it's so flexible that you can still like move it around, and then you don't have to worry about it so much about it getting like hard countered or punished as much. If it is like it's a 5-position Puck and they counter pick it, it's like, grats, you just counter picked our 5 position, you know?
Okay.
So now you're just putting it out there, and maybe you're just making EG respond entirely, and that can maybe just mess with their draft. Maybe EG had an idea going into this game, and then you do this, and they have to fully respond rather than playing their own concept of Dota.
Also, No-Tail, you mentioned when we did see the Rasta that you like it more than some of these other heroes, like
Lion.
Lion.
More than Lion. Yeah, people are picking some Lion. I used to be a big Lion fan. I just think Rasta is a better hero. I used to love Lion Heroes of New Earth, but we don't want to talk about that game because, yeah, that game turned really bad after a while, and Dota became the best game ever. But yeah, Shadow Shaman, one of my all-time favorite heroes. I'm very biased, and we don't see a lot of Shadow Shaman play nowadays.
I wonder if this opening from Alliance is about the pace of the game they want to take against Evil Geniuses. These 2 heroes were instrumental in their win against Na'Vi, where they had a very similar lineup with Puck and Lifestealer as cores, Abaddon as a 3, and they just kind of mowed down Na'Vi nice and early. And Evil Geniuses, even to date, still prefer those slower kind of lineups, as you said, with Arteezy always picking like these harder carries, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the game where they used Infest off cooldown. I think that might have been, I was casting one of them where it was literally like Infest was up and they were just like hopping in the Puck and just making something happen every single time, just looking to ramp up the pace. I like the bans from Alliance. I think they're just protecting Nico Baby, like you said. He's like the specialty guy. He's the guy that you want to carry the game. They banned the Morphling, they banned that Razor. The 2
but
heroes
that's usually not a good sign. I'm usually not a fan of that. If you do a pick like this and you have to ban 2 picks for that, that often means that there also is a 3rd or a 4th, unless you really thought it through. And it just kind of puts you back quite often. I mean, I get it. You feel like banning these 2 heroes against Nakes, but then Nakes maybe wasn't the pick, unless they make it work. I mean, now I'm also speaking from a previous patch experience. I've yet to really get into this, but yeah, usually when you see something like that, it means, I don't know, as a drafter, I just feel bad. I pick a hero and then I ban 2 heroes towards it, unless it's really, really planned out, you know? And Rasta is not particularly, Lifestealer is not particularly good against Treant. So you ask yourself, but it's much related to the Puck, I'm sure, and the next bombs that Jonas is mentioning, so make use of those.
Another one of those heroes that in, what was it, the One Esports, like teams were just straight up banning TA in the 4-5 because Abed was so scary on it that EG, they could pick it up early, like, and it could be countered, similar to the Storm Spirit, and Abed's so good with it that he manages to have a big impact anyway.
I love having Abed on just either your win condition hero or a hero that just can carry the game. So I feel like they do it most of the times. I feel like when we barely see them really play like these like invokers that are running around trying to make all the space on the map. I think this one is one I can carry the game if I need to, especially because I'm versus a Lifestealer.
I'm not a TA fan, but that's
not
me.
A fan?
Nah, not a fan.
I love TA.
Well, yeah, Farah on the Lich. I think Lich is definitely in the top 5 of the supports that are being played. I played some of it myself. It feels very, very solid. You obviously saw teams picking Oracle. When people are willing to pick Oracle against it, it feels less good. But this is a rather good Lich game so far. Just very solid. The hero brings a lot of damage. But damn, it looks like fun to play Rasta.
Rich played some Rasta.
It certainly was going to be a tough lane for the offlaner until Evil Geniuses picked up that Timber Saw.
Yeah, it's a good question what they want to do. If they want to pick a support, if they want to pick, or if they're happy with Abed playing, Limp playing the Puck versus Abed.
What boxes are we looking to check here, Cap, on the side
Well,
of the line?
you need an answer to Timber Saw. If you have a lot of magic damage, especially a Spirit Vessel hero is useful. I would have said OD whenever I see Timber Saw, but their matchup against a TA and I think kind of a scary lineup that's hard to play against. So this could be like a 3-position Puck here. We could have a Limp Tiny or something. Could be Hanskin as well. A lot of options.
They have done that quite a lot. Limp is a specialist on the hero. You can also abuse the TA quite a lot with like the toss back.
Yeah, I'm quite curious to whether or not this will probably be a support Tiny. I just wonder if this Timber Saw is not going to cause a lot of issues for them if they don't do anything against him getting a good start.
You always like the repositioning of the Tiny mixed with the Puck. Anything to snap that coil. Such a powerful ability.
Yeah, that's good stuff always. And there's also, like, I don't know who's going mid, if they're happy to put the Tiny mid versus TA, or if they're still going to put the Puck mid against TA. I'm guessing that both are losing matchups, if I were to ask most people. Or maybe the Puck TA matchup is different now, I'm not sure.
Well, EG, they're afraid of a different mid in that Huskar ban, just to secure TA's game 100%, make sure she isn't totally lost in the woods.
I mean, look at their bans, right? They banned Viper, Bat, and Huskar. They're really trying to make sure that this TA has a stellar game.
Do we really need a hard carry for Arteezy this game? I feel like with TA and Timbersaw, you already have a pretty strong mid-game window. I think I want Arteezy to play something a bit more active this game.
Have they done their TC Timbersaw yet? I've seen Ramses play it once, right? This tournament? I think he played it this tournament one time.
Yeah,
yes.
I don't think we've seen Arteezy do it, no.
No, okay. It's something that you could do. You could do that.
Cap started to mention looking for something more active potentially on the side of EG. Fogged, any heroes jumping off the page to you?
Not at the moment for EG, at least. They might still be waiting. I mean, once they see this, they can identify where they want to put the Timber. I think it is an option that they could put it safe lane, but it's still, I don't think it's something that EG would do. It doesn't feel, it used to be something Arteezy played in the past, but it doesn't feel like it's something that fits their lineup that they like to do now. And
ooh, wow. Ooh, that's fun. That's nice. I'm a fan. That has a lot of magic damage. This obviously used to be an innate counter versus Treant and still works. It's not the same interaction anymore with removing the armor, but you don't care about the armor that the living armor gives you. Good timings against TA and magic damage against Timbersaw. That's a cool pick.
Speedy Lifestealer as well, with an Ion Shell on him.
Yeah. That was a very cool pick. Kind of brings their whole lineup together. This makes me also want to think that it's going to be... Who's going to play the Puck and the Tiny between Limp and...
Well, we never said Drow Ranger, but they have the TA. And this is going to be that kind of strong mid-game window.
I wonder how much Hanskin plays around the mid lane then, because I don't know how Limp's going to do in that matchup if he doesn't get help.
All right, let's actually try to pick this apart just a little bit before we get into the game. No-Tail, do you think that there's a clear team favored coming out of this draft?
Obviously, Alliance.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Alliance is favored. Fog, do you agree there?
Go ahead. Disagree with No-Tail. I dare you.
I do. I really like the Darkseer pickup because of the auras. Drow has looked a little weak to me. I think there's been a lot of things, but Abed is playing his TA, so I'm like, I don't know how that's going to go.
Did you hear the guy, man? They have papers in the booth.
Papers.
He's going to go with No-Tail. I'm going to go with EG. It's a good chance to look good. It's an Abed TA. Why not?
All right. Some people definitely sided with you, Cap, but No-Tail, how do you think that EG would actually be able to win in this one?
They gotta shut down the Darkseer. If he has if the Darkseer has a really bad time and they never get this Iron Shell surge going for them, this is what they really have to do. Then they're gonna lose. If EG managed to do that and Alliance don't find a way to get the Darkseer to have a good game, it's gonna be hard.
All right, well, let's see how it goes, guys. This is an elimination matchup. The best of 3 is getting started right after this.
All right, well, hello there, Lizard. Are you excited for this match? We've got an elimination match.
Hell yeah. EG versus Alliance?
I'm very, very excited for this match. We saw some amazing Dota coming out from EG the other day. I'm really interested to see how Ramses is going to be doing on that Timbersaw, and also just, Op has been playing out of his mind. But on the flip side of things, right, you got Limp in that mid lane. He's going to have a bit of difficulty, but he was known as one of the best mid players in NA, and plenty of other all-stars over on the side of EG.
He is an EU player, but yeah, in NA it's not that hard for him to be the best. I'm just kidding.
Wow, thanks, Lizard.
The only problem that I see for Limp is the Puck versus TA matchup. Like Notil has said, he doesn't know how this matchup goes right now, but I still think it's heavily TA favored. We'll see if Limp will have the same impact that's expected from him, that he usually has on this Puck.
Well, I mean, Limp is a very, he's a talented player. He's played a lot of TA. Maybe he really knows this matchup well. He's going to be able to make something happen. But I do believe that he's going to need some assistance. As the top lane, 33, getting harassed a little bit, just slowing down. He does have that region on him, no problem.
Also, one other thing that Notil was talking about is Darkseer and his Iron Shell and his ability to get strong early on. It looks like they will tri-lane him on top, but this should be fine for 3-3. As he's still on the safe lane, he should find the experience necessary, and later on he can scale super well. Let's see.
There's so much harass in this lane, Lizard. They slowed him down, they shackled him up, and that's gonna be the first blood going over to the side of EG.
He was a little bit too eager there to get... The creeps were really close to the tower, so he thought that he might be able to get there, to get a couple of extra right clicks, and he instantly falls to the tree and Rasta. These two heroes, by the way, are the hardest right clickers on level 1 in the game. You can't really disrespect them and move into their range like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Who was it on the panel the other day who was saying that you get tree +1, run it as a tri-lane. It is just absolutely brutal to have to deal with.
It's unstoppable. That's one of the reasons why Alliance is actually dodging it. That's the reason why Darkseer is on the top lane. But we talked a lot about the Darkseer. Ramses on this Timbersaw, I think, can pose a significant threat to Alliance as well, especially the way he's played. He's on the safe lane, and he will have a lot of farm early on.
And I think that was the problem in one of the other games yesterday, right? When they were playing up against, what was it, IG? They were playing yesterday, but the issue became that Ramses just got so big. He got so big, so powerful, they weren't able to do anything about his laning stage, and he just started to run over that lane.
Ramses, they are tri-laning him.
We do say this, and as we start seeing him get chased around in the trees, but that cute toss back, though, right to Fata. He's just gonna have to TP out. Does he have it, though? Oh, no, he doesn't. Ramses is gonna get taken down.
That's very unfortunate that he tried to TP away while the tower was hitting him. Maybe if he was level 3 there, that's pretty much why he died. If you're Timbersaw, you need to get that level 3 as soon as possible. That's why he greeded out, and in the end, that's why he died. But one thing that's really surprising me so far is that Limp is doubling Abed's CS on this mid lane.
I
What's
told
happening?
you. I mean, Limp, he's played I mean, both of these players, right, have played plenty of mid matchups, a lot of TA, but Limp is very experienced with it, and he's probably able to, you know, compensate.
I'm just surprised, honestly, considering Puck was picked in the first phase and still sent mid, got countered by the TA, and is still dominating. This isn't merely winning, he's dominating mid lane. He's forcing Abed to go to the jungle and farm.
He heard your comment about you ragging on him for being #1 in NA for mid. He's proving you wrong, Lizard.
Oh, he's doing a really good job so far.
Well,
3-3 as well, forced to the jungle. I mean, you can't really do anything else. You're playing versus Shadow Shaman and Tree, and you have to do this. But the problem is when you do that, you free up the map. You open up those rotations from the tree.
not quite the throw he was hoping for over in that mid lane. I do like how you are seeing a very active Tiny, though, as they're trying to kind of deal with the fact that 33 just pushed out of that lane pretty much completely. I think we'll be seeing a lot more action in the other lanes, but are you concerned that the top lane's just completely free now?
Every time you see position 4s rotating around, there are consequences on the side lanes. And right now, Hands can rotate at mid instantly. Ramses gets a lot of space on that bottom lane. That's the thing.
Tossed up into the air. Crit sitting pretty low. Do they have the final hit? Fata trying right around the corner. Frost Shield comes out. Hanskin gets himself the kill.
They get an easy kill there, and you can see Hanskin rotating towards mid now. Also, Fly had to rotate. I don't know if he had to rotate bottom, but he did. And now he's kind of stuck there. I think it was much better for him to mess with Puck around that mid lane. But then again, maybe he can help out Ramses a little bit.
It feels like a lot of, hold that thought as TA, and we're in the mid lane. Crit's there to back up. Keep them off of his Templar Assassin. I feel like heroes like Puck and like Timbersaw, they're very dependent on getting those levels. And when you start putting more heroes into their lane, does that start to detract from their value, or does it not matter if you're still finding kills and putting that pressure down, like in this case?
Ramses?
Open wounds, doesn't have that Timber Chain. He's trying to break over into the tree line, uses that Q. Slow down so much, the Frost Blast comes out from Fata, and they find a kill.
Yeah, Fata comes to your lane with 9 mangoes, you just need to go away. That's the best play versus Fata's Lich, because it's been, I think it was Kyle that called him the best Lich player out there. I don't know how good you have to be the best Lich player out there as the hero.
Rude, Lizard, come on now.
Look, Fata is super talented. He's much more talented than be called a Lich player. That's my
all right, fair enough. He's got very good positioning, though. That's one thing that you can say about Fata's Lich, and that is very important that you don't get caught out.
And very good RNG on his Chain
Oh my
Frost.
God, yeah, that was Chain Frost earlier. What was that, 8? I think I counted 8 bounces. I never get that kind of luck, man.
It's skill.
Clearly, something I lack. Middle lane, though, you can see Limp still just playing along here, isn't very far behind at all.
You can see the Tiny applying pressure, even when he just moves like that, in sight, in vision. Even when he's out of vision for that TA, he has to be careful not to be around the Puck way too much. Especially when Limp gets that level 6, because there's an opportunity for them to break the Dream Coil.
You can see some movement over there in that mid lane, people getting into position. See Limp trying to fight over here with the tree.
Just
living
contesting
armor
the
on
rune.
him. Yeah, man, just to get that illusion rune, though, despite Fly's best efforts. I feel like it's a bit counterintuitive to have a Timbersaw and a tree on your team, right? Especially in the bottom lane where you're hoping maybe you can move around, use that tree walking to your advantage, and then Ramses just cuts down all your trees.
It's usually, you don't usually cut down all the trees, right, with the Timbersaw.
Right.
If you're playing against the tree and that's your option, but when you play with one, you can kind of play around it. It doesn't have to mean that you're going to cut all the trees.
Yeah, I've had horrible experiences with that.
There we go,
Dream
the
Coil
coil.
use in the mid lane, though. The jump forward, Limp getting a kill on Abed.
This is such a good play.
Oh, in the top lane, too, they find a kill on Hanskin.
They found a kill on Hanskin, but look, Moxie, if he wasn't showing on the top lane, if he wasn't trying to make this move on top, Abed wouldn't die, because he wouldn't feel as safe to go on the enemy side of the map.
That's
on
true.
the enemy side of the river.
33, you can see losing the orb coming out. Limp they find a kill over onto Crit, and now the Treant can't get away from the tower fast enough. He will also fall.
Sadly for them, they do not manage to deny that tower, but then again, they do get 2 kills. Limp is doing a lot of work again, and he's just shining on his hero once more.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people were like, oh gosh, you know, getting countered by the TA, but he's really held his own. And then some, I believe, honestly. Bottom lane, Nico baby, just getting bullied here by Ramses. This is what a Timbersaw does.
I'm just interested in at these two offlaners, Ramses and 3-3. Which one of them will come online faster? Obviously, Ramses is already pressuring the bottom lane. I don't think these two heroes can mess with him any longer. They killed him around that level 4, but from this moment onwards, he can already dive the tier 1. And that's one thing that Alliance really do lack. That's that burst damage to take down the Timbersaw later on when he gets 1 or 2 items.
That is going to become a problem for sure. But for now, Ramsey's just gonna, you know, take a couple hits to the towers, keep that reactive up. Crit grabbing himself the haste rune. He's making his way over, maybe to limp. There he is, just zooming on in the Hex plus the Shackles, and that's a very dead puck. As they find the kill onto Ramses in the bottom lane.
Yeah, there you go. That's what they were talking about. The Darkseer rotating bottom, giving them those shields. You don't care about the armor. You don't care about Timbersaw's reactive armor. You don't care about Treant's armor when you have a Darkseer on your side. So that's a really, really good reaction pick from Alliance.
So, you know, you were asking which one of these offlaners comes online quicker. Which one is more value, though, to have them start gaining up those levels, would you say?
I think it's very similar, but Ramses, he naturally grows stronger when you give him that safe lane.
Right.
The only thing for EG that's really good is the fact that even though they safe laned Ramses, Drow was not contested on the top lane. And you can see Drow on top of the network charts.
It definitely gives her a nice start off, and one of those heroes that really does shine if you can get the advantage.
I love Nico Baby's item build as well. He wasn't contested at all in the laning stage. There are multiple ways to start the Lifestealer. With Chainmail, with Gloves of Attack, or with Maelstrom. Usually you start with Chainmail if you're contested and you build into Phase Boots, then Maelstrom. But in a game such as this one, going first Maelstrom is really good, especially versus the Timbersaw as well.
Yeah, it does give you that magic proc on it. And then on top of that, I think, what did they say? They said it's basically like a better Mask of Mana sort of thing because you're able to farm, you're able to fight. That's Midas.
It's a better Midas right now because Midas is just way too expensive and isn't really great to pick up. Maelstrom gives you more damage, you have more attack speed naturally from the rework of Feast, and then you farm faster. So
and you're able to scrap earlier, which I think is a really big deal right now with this current meta. There's a Chain Frost. Are we going to get lucky on some of these bounces? It's looking pretty nice. Ramses now is going to get held in place, has that Dream Coil. And they've got the tree over on the side, and they're trying to run. Oh, no, 33. He's all caught up. He's going to get taken down as now Ramses has to Timber Chain himself away. And they're thinking about going back in, possibly. Everybody's standing nearby. They've got the wave.
They need to back out. They're backing out. They're going top, perhaps, to take the outpost and bounty runes. After failing that attack, I actually believed in them because they had the Darkseer, they had the Iron Shells, but he got deleted so fast by the Drow Ranger that he couldn't really contribute. Also, Ramses already has 4 levels in reactive armor. He's super beefy. With 1 Bracer and Raindrop, you can't expect to take him down unless you invest everything into that.
Well, that's kind of the scary thing, right? Is he had such an incredible laning phase, just left completely alone, that he's showing up to these fights, and it's much more difficult.
This is the second game of the tournament that I'm seeing Blink Dagger rushed on the TA, and I completely agree with it. I think it's good, but he needs to make it work. He needs to get a couple of kills. At the same time, though, with the Blink Dagger, you can farm. You're moving faster across the map, so that's all right, but it's not a Desolator.
But do you think they're going to try to get some smokes, maybe pair up with, say, the Tree and the Shadow Shaman, try to make things happen?
I think the 4 of them will move across the map. Drow Ranger had such a good start that perhaps we'll even see her join the fights. We'll see maybe Arteezy be a bit more active, but I think it's mostly the 4 of them creating space until Drow has those 3 items that she usually needs.
Look at this Ramses, he knows he's a beast right now. He's gonna keep throwing out some of this harass. They've got those Serpent Wards doing damage on the tower.
One thing that the panel didn't really address is Alliance's ability to take down Rasta Wards. And here we see them take them down fairly easily, but we'll let that
Dream Coil, they do have a creep wave. See Ramses trying to make some space over here. These bounces are just so good. They get a kill on Ramses.
Yeah, Fata and the Lich bounces. It's just crazy. But it was an easy ulti to use. At the same time, we see Hands can fall bottom.
This game's all over the place already. Abed wants to try to get a quick pick on Fata. Easy peasy. Now he's gonna try to put some damage onto Limp. It's pretty hard to get a hold of that Fairy Dragon though, unless you have some sort of silence or disable.
Actually surprised he didn't go towards the shrine because he did have Darkseer there. However, crit with Invis.
Yeah, he's just obliterated.
This is
That's what we talked about, having that lockdown, Lizard.
This is exactly why they picked him. This is exactly why they took Shadow
Oh, Abed, you might be for trouble right now. They have the dust. TA trying to run out is not going to be enough as Nico Baby gets himself a kill.
Nico Baby on top of the phase boots now has the Maelstrom with the Surge. He chases on. Fly is definitely a target.
Ooh, Nico Baby, he wants that tree. They pull back into the vacuum. They get the kill onto Fly. They turn back around. Crit running forward. I think they do need to be a little bit careful, although you do have Arteezy joining into the fight. A couple Frost Arrows get thrown out.
They're playing really well around Ramses. That is, Alliance is playing really well around him. And see this, toss back.
Ooh, toss back again. Tries to Timber Chain away, does manage to get it, but he's just slowed down. He's silenced, and he's not going to be able to climb himself away.
I think if you are EG, you need to change your approach to this game right now. You need to play around the Timbersaw. One of the reasons why they were diving the jungle is to kill the puck, and they also didn't have boards to use to take objectives. But if Ramses is on that tower, he's creating this attention, if he's gathering attention of Alliance, maybe you should play around him. Maybe you should pop those wards there. You have Overgrowth, you have TA to jump in the backlines. You can definitely fight well if you back up Ramses.
That's going to be the name of the game, I guess, for a while on the side of EG. Let your very tanky Timbersaw, attract all the attention and then try to clean up afterwards.
Okay. He's going straight for that pipe. There's a lot of magic damage on the side of Alliance, so Timbersaw getting that pipe early on will definitely help them out quite a lot.
Definitely help deal with, some of that magic damage coming out from the Darkseer. The insane Chain Frost bounces, too, that we've been seeing coming out from Fata. I do want to say that we've been seeing some really nice movements coming out from Tiny with a lot of these toss backs.
So far, he has created every single kill on Timbersaw. He's been doing really well. He has 1,000 gold and is moving towards his Blink Dagger. This is what I meant. Use the wards when Ramses is there. Use them around him. But so far, Alliance has been on point when it comes to the defense of this tier 1. They don't want to lose it. They want to waste as many Rasta wards as possible before they take down that first tier 1.
Well, it's so important, too, that mid-tower being the closest one to Roshan. You know that the TA is eventually going to want to climb herself in there.
Exactly. That's why this tower is very, very significant for them. But what's even more important for Alliance is to get these mobility items as soon as possible. They do have Surge, they do have Puck, but they still don't have that real vessel for the Nikes. And that's where Tiny and Puck, once they get those Blink Daggers, are going to come super handy.
Waiting game, we do have the Blink Dagger, like you said, already on the Templar Assassin. I'm guessing that we'll be seeing the Desolator picked up shortly after. Fata's just getting himself that bottom outpost.
You can see the Fly has that Blink Dagger queued up as well. They do have already the setup with the TA, but I think having a Blink Dagger on Treant in a game such as this one can be super significant. Just to save the Drow, just to be able to jump and counter-initiate once they go on that Drow Ranger. There we go. First infest of the game.
And there it went.
Wasn't great.
I
expected a little bit more.
Sometimes you're just a little too tired to get out of bed in the morning. You want to have somebody else do it for you, so they let them do that for him.
The way EG is splitting up the map right now is really, really good. They're giving a lot of farm to their supports and a lot of experience. Crit before TPing mid, he was constantly on the top lane, Fly was on the bottom lane. So you can see the game plan of EG is to just farm. They don't want to fight necessarily until that Desolator at least is completed on Abed. He's in the pit though.
What does he have on him currently?
He has the Deso. And
does
the
have the
Vampire
Deso.
Pants,
Okay, yeah, they're right in that pit. They're getting started. And it doesn't seem like anyone on Alliance has any interest in trying to slow them down, so this is going to be a really nice spike in power going for the side of EG.
If you look at the Alliance's side of the map and the positioning of their wards, they're completely defensive. You can see one Dire ward deep inside their own jungle, the other are on the cliffs around the Dire River on the bottom lane, so they didn't really intend to contest that. I think maybe EG caught them off guard a little bit too. It was a fairly quick rush, but you're playing versus TA.
Bottom lane, Fata, he's trying, he's silenced, he just gets ripped apart by Fly and Arteezy here.
And if you look at these two supports of EG, you'll see that they're both really, really rich. You have Tiny, on the other side you have Tiny with 1600 gold. He's getting closer to his Blink Dagger, but so are Rasta and so is Trian.
We have an Infest Bomb as they just blow up Crit. He already managed to drop those Sentry Wards, though, sorry, the Serpent Wards.
Serpent Wards. Yeah, he's gonna take half of this tower, and that's
still pretty decent, I think.
That's really good for him. You don't really want to be feeding the Serpent Wards too much. They still do give quite a lot of gold. But if you are taking towers and if you're creating space, it's good. However, now they're lacking a lot of catch, and I'm surprised the Lions didn't pounce on them, even with that Aegis.
Are you still a bit scared of the fact that, you know, this TA has the Aegis and the Timbersaw is also just very, very tanky? Is that one of the other reasons they might have respected it and backed off?
It's TA Aegis, it's Timbersaw, and it's the fact that they still didn't manage to take down the tier 1 on the bottom lane. That means Shadow Shaman could have bought back and rejoined the fight.
Got it. They're playing it very slow and steady then on the side of Alliance. They know what they're waiting for, and they don't want to take any risks. This is an elimination match, of course.
Exactly, and this elimination match is about to amp up as soon as Tiny gets his Blink Dagger, and on the other hand, the Shadow Shaman and the Treant. I think the Shadow Shaman Blink Dagger might be the biggest one in this game. It's not an easy game for him, as Notil stated. Puck with Nyx, if he jumps Shadow Shaman, essentially is just dead. But once he gets that Blink Dagger, the offensive potential, the aggressive potential of Shadow Shaman is amazing.
Is it all just going to come down to who can get the initiation first, do you think? Because we have so many methods of counter initiation, right? You're going to have the tree that's going to have the Blink Dagger. You've got, you know, if someone jumps in onto the side of Alliance, you've got Fata who can follow up, 33.
There are definitely different ways of playing out these team fights, but as you just said, I think these initiation Blink Daggers are going to be huge. I don't think you'll be able to counter-attack that easily when you have a TA with Dazzle critting you.
They do have that Heaven's Halberd online for Nico, baby, so it is a solution to the TA depending on how the fight goes out.
You can see the two teams just completely playing around the outpost timing, around that 20-minute mark. Perhaps they'll pressure tier 1 on the top lane a little bit, Alliance that is, while on the bottom lane we already see EG planting the wards and going for the tier 2.
I've seen this before.
And they have such a good ward though, on the right side. They have that ward on the cliff, just in case they try to sneak attack them from the woods.
Ramses poking around a little bit.
There's the Blink Dagger.
There's that Blink forward over onto the tree. He's gonna get stuttered. Oh, they'll follow up with the Dream Coil, but not necessary, as down in the bottom lane, Crit trying to go for that bounty rune. He gets it. Does manage to buy out, get the Blink Dagger. He realizes that he is just getting out of here in a body bag.
There, the game literally just answered your question. The moment the team pounces with the Blink Dagger, they take a good team fight. Even though they're playing versus TA with Desolator, with Aegis, with Blink, it doesn't matter, because if you pounce on some targets right now, you will take it out. And they pounced on the best possible hero, that's the Rasta. The moment he's eliminated, your control on EG is very limited. You only have the Treant to work with, and that's simply not enough in the current state of the game.
This Guardian Greaves just got finished up over there for 33, so which is going to give them even more potential to scrap and be able to push towers. So what do you think, you know, we have the Blink Dagger that's been revealed, obviously, on the Tiny. We're going to have the Blink on the Shadow Shaman he bought out before he died. How do the next couple of minutes unfold with it?
We might see a smoke coming from EG very soon. After Shadow Shaman respawns, they could move together. See TA. The TA is actually building towards the BKB, so she's around 600 gold away. Maybe the best idea for EG is to use this Aegis defensively. You don't necessarily always use it aggressively. You get that Aegis on the TA and then you just chill. She's unkillable, probably they won't attempt to kill her twice, and you can chill back, get that BKB, and after the BKB is up, that's your true power spike on the PA. Because if you look at the Alliance, they do have a ton of control.
It almost feels like they're trying to plot something as they make their way through their own jungle.
I love Limp's item build as well. He's moving instantly towards the Agonist, the first item after Blink. That's going to be so significant because if you look at Alliance, they talked about Tiny and the tosses, but you actually have so many different ways too. Sinister Gaze is probably the weakest one, but you have Vacuum.
Yeah.
But you have Vacuum as well. So 3 possible ways of breaking that coil. Alliance.
Yeah, the blink forward coming out. Immediately hexed up, though. They'll turn back around with the Chakram. They need to bounce away because after all, Fod and Chain Frost have really good RNG. The Fear Spell going to be able to drag them right back again. But over here, they go and they use that Dream Coil. Down on the lower ground they go and they drop down the wall. Nice avalanche being thrown out again. They're going to be able to take down Fly. They already took down Fata. Crit gets taken down. Fata buys back. Wants to be a part of this. Is now the TA, that Halberd coming in handy. Ramses gets tossed up. BKB is going to get popped here over onto Ovid. He's trying to run himself away. Nico Baby, he's just relentless. He wants this kill. They're going to go right past this tower. He's going to try to hide. Do they have detection? It doesn't matter. They don't need it. As now Arteezy, he needs to run. The rest of his team is just taken down. No Ramses in sight. Yeah, I'm thinking this is going to be a dead Drow Ranger.
Man, Alliance takes such a good team fight, but at the same time, EG, what are you doing? Ramses, he's completely frontlining. He's standing like a boss up front, even though he doesn't have armor on him. He didn't have the stacks. But his supports, Rasta and the Treant, on the side lane, on the side, next to the river, they got caught completely by the puck. Puck didn't even infest bomb them. Nikes went out on the other side of the river, but they still had enough time to kill off Treant and the Shadow Shaman first. If you are EG, you can't play like this. Shadow Shaman and Treant, they have to live longer and they have to be better positioned. Look at this. Ramses is here, but down a little bit, you will see a completely different fight. There's the Treant and the Shadow Shaman fighting.
This is where it just splits off completely,
there.
right?
Limp coil the 2 supports here. Look, it's just too good. The Vacuum as well into the river. Very well played by Alliance.
Now just imagine if they had pulled it just a little bit faster and they had managed to get the snap off too.
Man, Alliance is stepping it up. Look at this. Instantly a smoke again.
They've got this aggression and I like it. I like it. You've got Nico Baby top of the net worth right now. You've got very active heroes. In fact, they find themselves a crit over here. It's going to go into the Roche pit and it just gets taken out.
That's one very, very sad Shadow Shaman and perhaps Ramses too.
Yeah, the Fear Spell being pulled in by Lich's Sinister Gaze. He's trying to move away, does have the timber, but he gets dragged right back with the Vacuum. Now over in the stop, Arteezy's trying to just take some attention off of him, but Ramses, he's going to need a little bit more help than that as the Treant gets spotted out. The toss right back next to Nico Baby. Big overgrowth. Couple of those bounces here. They're going to go leash him up. This Timbersaw, Ramses, he's so crying. He's taken a lot of damage, but he's still alive, Blizzard.
They won't go for him. They will let him leave onto that high ground next to the shrine. You don't really want to dive there. You respect the Drow Ranger and the TA with the BKB. They itemized really well on Alliance. But they're still unable to take down the Timbersaw. He just has Guardian Greaves and he has Pipe. Also, the Dragon Scale, too much armor for them to deal with. But you don't have to deal with the Timbersaw. You just kill everyone else.
Well, they're going to go right back into the Roche pit. They had a trap there. It's going to be Roche number 2.
Limp is here. He's checking it. He did not see the TA,
but Ovid.
They have to. They
have the ward. They have the vision. They know that he's in the pit.
There's also
everybody's just hanging out on the side.
Aghanim is completed on puck, so.
Oh boy. Yeah, they've got that infest bomb. They want to go in there. It's just a matter of finding the right time, right? And it looks like EG figures, all right, we can't take this Roche unless we get some sort of a pickoff. We know that they're in the vicinity. Let's be smart about this. And they did take down the vision. They have their own vision too, at the cliffside. How do you approach this?
It's so difficult. Look at Fata. We were talking about his Lich. Look how well positioned he is. He's completely in the back, hiding behind the trees. They know. They understand 100% what's happening. They're just sitting around their shrine on the high ground and they're waiting for someone to show. Now that Ramses has been spotted on the mid lane, they understand that most likely they're around him. In this case, they weren't. They were around their shrine, continuing the farm, but really, really well played by Alliance. A good defense of this Roshan. Even though they didn't have any significant team fight, just by their positioning, they prevented EG from taking it.
Ramses just doing Timbersaw things in the mid lane. Still very, very difficult to take down. And they're just dodging right now. It doesn't look like they're going to commit anything too hard. for that Roche. They know that everyone's over there, and they did remove the vision over on the top ward spot for the most part here, so.
Look at them, all five of them actually around that mid lane, waiting for Ramses to perhaps push in one more creep wave, but I'm still not certain that they can take him down. He has greater Fairy Fire, Guardian Greaves as well. This hero is very difficult to kill.
Especially when you've had such a good laning stage as he has.
One thing that was...
Oh, the Hex. Ramses, he's thinking about going in, but it doesn't feel like the rest of the team is quite ready yet. We'll back off.
One thing that was really good for EG in this whole situation here is the fact that they backed out a little bit sooner because Alliance, they were really afraid that TA will still snatch that rush. So they had to play S5 around their shrine, around that pit. Meanwhile, EG, they spread the map, they let Ramses be on his own on that mid lane because they trust in him. They understand that he cannot fall. And they found a lot of farm in the last couple of minutes.
It's really, really smart, right? You know that your enemies, they know that you want to take that Roche, so you're going to be positioned around the pit, but you just start spreading out a little bit. You're like, okay, well, if they're going to just spend all their time wasting around that area, then let's just go off to other lanes. Let's get that farm. Let's make, something very productive of it. And that is Dota. It's all about being very efficient.
Exactly, and these heroes also allow them that. You have Treant, he doesn't... You can't see when he's on your side of the map. He has that level 10 talent. Nature's Guise grants you invisibility, and you can't really know where Fly is moving. He might be out pushing somewhere. Might be farming the jungle. He might be catching you and scouting you.
It's a very strong hero.
Middle tower is under attack.
Looks like they're going to try to put some pressure onto the top tower here.
If you're Alliance and you want to take a tower, you need to completely commit on it. You can't just poke it. The way EG has been doing so far, just dropping wards and backing out. You can't afford to do that if you're Alliance because you're playing versus a Treant, that very strong hero that you talked about. One of his many strengths is his living armor, obviously. And he will heal the towers up. However, he's caught on top lane. Fly. He might fall here.
Yeah, they've got the dust, the toss up. It's a very dead tree.
He was trying to take the outpost away, and because of that, they might lose the tier 1 on the top lane now. Alliance, they weren't really ready to fight them full 5-on-5, but after killing that Treant, they will just take this easy tier 1 on the top lane.
I'm surprised that we haven't seen Crit trying to put the damage onto the bottom tower over there.
He hasn't been able to push in just yet, so once he gets closer to the tier 3, perhaps he will use those wards. But if he does use them, that gives Alliance perhaps an opportunity to make a good fight around the Roche pit.
He got the Rich special. He got the Cobalt with the shovel. Is that possible? Rich says that he got like 6 Cobalts in a row.
Anything is possible for Rich. I think one good play from Shadow Shaman here is if he plants the wards and if they force them to defend versus the wards, that opens up the Roche and TA can just move straight in.
Does have to be careful though, yeah, look at this. 33, he's on the hunt, he realizes what he's trying to do. He's not gonna allow that as Crit TP's out.
Also, you can see the 33 is moving towards the Lotus Orb, which will be very significant in this game. He's actually just claimed it, he has the Lotus Orb, so Shadow Shaman isn't really as strong as he was up to this point.
Nice. Nice high five there in the mid lane, some nice camaraderie. I like it. Crowd seems to like it too.
2 Slavic boys clapping.
Mid lane. We've got 33 and Fata just kind of hanging out over there, doing a little bit of simple dewarding.
It definitely looks like Alliance wants to make a play, and there we go.
Oh, the toss back onto Ramses. We've got the Sinister Gaze, the Silence. He needs a little bit of help. Nico Baby's here, and he's just slicing him away. A couple of hits, they'll go, they'll pop up that pipe. Ramses, though, he's so tanky.
They're just kidding. They're just joking. They weren't really trying to kill him.
Yeah, they're just poking each other like, hey, what's up, Remember that high five earlier? That was pretty great, right?
Remember what we talked before about this Timbersaw problem? It definitely shows right now. Yes. Alliance, they tried, but they didn't really commit any big spells. Puck ulti is there, Lich ulti is there, the wall is also still unused because they understood maybe we can bait something out from EG, but there's no way we're taking this Timbersaw down. Their best bet right now is just to ignore Ramses and take care of everyone else, and they have enough mobility to do so. You have the surge, you have the puck.
Oh, but they found the drow immediately. There's going to be the BKB, but the bounce has come out. He's all leashed up. Can they get the final hit off? It's going to be a very dead Arteezy.
That's exactly what they have to be doing. They have to be finding Arteezy, they have to be finding the TA.
Ooh, toss up into the air. 33 surging up. Slows down just a little bit here, the tree. Going forward, it's Ramses again. It is like the Ramses show here every time they find someone. Looks like Abed wants to go back and look at the damage coming out, plus the Jackal, the jump forward coming out from Crit. Nico Baby is here though, and he's looking pretty hungry. They'll use the overgrowth. They drop the Super Wards on top of it. Now they'll drop the wall. The Hex comes out. Can they get the kill on Nico Baby though? Yes, he's all Hex up. He gets taken down. Crit's also going to fall. There's going to be the buyback coming out from Crit. They need that extra hold. Chain Frost not as lucky as some of the other ones that we've seen coming out from Fata, but he does manage to get out. Can they get Hunskin? No, they won't, but they will be able to go and grab themselves up this Roche.
Yeah, instantly they go into the pit. I believe Nico Baby might have been caught off guard there because of that MKB that was just completed on the TA, and it significantly increases the DPS versus the Halberd on the Nyx. I thought maybe they won't be able to kill him there because he had the Halberd, he used it on the TA, but with the BKB, Abe just dealt so much damage. Desolator with the Serpent Wards was really good too.
It's very well executed for sure. And you can see the puck kept throwing out the Illusory Orb, but...
Yeah, Limp did manage to snatch one Aegis today with that Magnus play. This time around he opts not really to go in. It was way too difficult to snatch that.
Looks like we have a quick pause here. So we do have the Aegis online for TA. Are we going to see them get really aggressive again? Are we going to see them back off now that Artur, did get taken down the top lane?
I think you have Aegis, you have Cheese. From now on, you will try to fight. The reason why Artur got picked up on the top lane is because he was alone. He was out of position.
Well, they were smoked, actually, on the other side of EG. He was the only one visible in the top lane, and of course, Alliance smokes, they see the opportunity.
Sometimes you do plays like that one because you're bluffing, right? My team is smoked, they don't see them, they probably won't jump me because they will think it's a trap.
Right.
But Alliance, they took that bluff, and they just went straight on him, they killed him off. From now on, I think they can move very aggressively.
No, but they find Fly over here. Doesn't feel like they want to hard commit though, just yet.
Abed?
Just blinks out, has the refraction. They're still closing in on him though. He'll drop the trap, go into that Null Strike. Ramses, he's front lining. He just can take so much damage here. Toss right up into the air. How do you get past this Timber Saw the tank?
It's very difficult. He's just standing up front. You can see Ramses, he's a living shield, a living wall right here for everyone else on the side of EG. And the amount of damage that they deal from distance with the Drow, with the TA, you can't ignore them. You can't just go on Ramses. You need to find a way to rotate behind them. Maybe some Infest Bomb a little bit later, however. Probably the best bet for them is to wait out that Aegis, right?
Just doesn't feel like EG wants to give them the opportunity. In fact, you can already see them, some of them moving towards that top lane, maybe thinking to take out that tier 2.
Yeah, they've taken all the other outer towers, so they move towards the top lane. Fly has been playing a really good game when it comes to giving info to his teammates about the whereabouts of the enemy team, and also planting these deep wards very easily. As he got that early Blink Dagger, it allows him to be super mobile. We will see an AC completed on Nyx very soon. Nico Baby is extremely farmed, and that will help him tremendously versus the TA Desolator, versus the Drow Ranger.
So walk me how EG wants to take this next fight.
They could do something like put Ramses on the high ground and then just put separate swords behind him, but he has to be careful because of the toss-back potential. That can happen too. If Ramses is not careful enough, they could just toss him back really far under the tier 4s. But what they decide to do is just plant the Serpent Wards and take like, what, 55% of the tower?
It's just like these slow sieges that we're seeing coming out from EG, they realize they don't have to hard commit on things. It's so difficult to get into the back line too, to like try to deal with Arteezy when you've got Ramses up in your face.
Crit is doing such a good job at not only planting these wards, but putting himself in positions in which he can do that. Outpushing the waves and then forcing everyone back with the Serpent Ward push.
So Cuirass completed now for the Lifestealer. It's going to be able to help him a little bit with some of that negative armor damage that the TA is dishing out.
EG will fight this. Aegis is running out
They're trying to bait.
really soon. You can see that they have control of this high ground, and they're just setting up around the Timber Saw on top of it. They have very, very good vision in this area, and that's why EG is struggling. They're struggling to find a way to approach them. They're pinging.
Oh, the wraparound. 33. The Gust back. And there's going to be the wall vacuum combo that we were talking about. We've got a split fight, though, onto both lines here. It looks like they will manage to get the kill onto 33, but on the back line, it looks like Crit trying to hold them down. They've got the BKBs up. The buyback comes out from 33. He wants to be a part of this. As now you can just see Arteezy in the back line. He's just chopping through everyone. Abed finding a kill onto the Lifestealer. Go get Trouble. Ramses finding the kill on Fata, now 33. He just bought back. He does not want to have to fight this alone.
What happened there for EG? That was some sort of miscommunication because 33, he caught 2 in the wall. He caught TA and the Drow Ranger, but they didn't commit on them. Instead, they went for the Shadow Shaman. They went for Crit, which is it's a good idea. It's a good idea to kill off the squishy supports first. But when you grab these 2 cores, these massive 2 cores, you can't afford to go on the low ground versus the Drow.
And they're going to pay for it. They're going to lose this tower right here, right now, and probably a couple more of these buildings, Lizard.
Yeah. That Aegis is still on Abed. There's a Hex completed on the Timber Saw. They can even go towards mid lane. They don't have Nikes for 40 more seconds. This could be easy, at least another tier 3.
That's what it feels like they're doing, as you see Abed and Ramses whacking away over here at these racks. 33 kind of running around in circles. He wants to get in there. He doesn't know what he can do without the rest of his team.
I'll tell you, he can't do anything. They just lack damage. They can't even delay this. Even if you get on top of that TA, you're not taking her down. And now they're just back off. They didn't lose absolutely anything in that whole engagement. Only Crit fell for them. And they take 2 sides off of that. Alliance, maybe they were a little bit too quick to fight there. They could have waited the Aegis out. They could have had better positioning. Maybe they could have fight in an area that's warded up for them. They chose themselves to fight around that triangle, which was perfectly warded by Radiant team.
I mean, it's difficult, right? It is an elimination match. You're feeling pressure. You don't want to get sent home. You're so close right now, Lizard. So maybe the stress is getting to them. Maybe...
It's definitely the case as well. It's a big game. It's an elimination match. You can't make all the right choices. One big item that's coming up very soon is that BKB on Crit. It's going to allow him to stay alive in these fights and perhaps keep this Nyx disabled or the puck disabled from distance without being just tossed or avalanche interrupted.
But you can see how much he's valued too, because when that fight did split off, they just were really trying to go after Crit during a lot of that.
Yeah, it didn't really do them much good though.
No, it really didn't.
One big issue that Nico Baby is facing is the fact that he has absolutely no ways of dealing with Treant Protector and Overgrowth. Fly saw that, and because of that he itemized the way that he's always able to get on top of that Nyx after the Rage has been used. Now he's itemizing even further. He's taking it 1 step ahead. He's going for the Refresher Orb.
Oh, that's going to be a huge problem for Alliance.
The problem is they have this single core. They have this one very beefy, tanky Lifestealer who can't take them down, but he needs to be able to attack. And EG, they're itemizing really well against that.
Well, is this also the case of, you've seen Alliance play this hero so many times that you just start to formulate a plan where you're like, okay, this is how he usually likes to play it. This is how we have to play it.
They just have to find the proper initiation, a proper team fight. So far, they've been struggling at that. They still have the Aghanims on puck. They still have the vacuum wall. They need to use all their spells together. They need that one big combo wombo.
Well, Ramses and Nico Baby, they're still high-fiving each other. But there are creeps in that base. There is a Cardi hitting away over here, too. Somebody might want to go home,
There's the
but they're not
BKB.
going to be able to do it. There's the BKB as they go. They hold him up. They stun him. They go trying to snap him off. Though look at how far he gets forced out. They want to try to keep Nico Baby alive, but there's just so much damage. He's grab driving back in. He's dead. He has buyback, but now they're still chasing after me. Can they get the kill? They'll find it. They'll turn on to Fata. That's a triple kill now for Arteezy on the back lines. Look at this drow range and go, baby. That's an ultra kill. Buybacks coming out from Nico Baby and Hanskin. They want to protect their base. They've got to go push them off. What are they going to do, Lizard?
Go back to the fountain?
I mean, I hear a lifestealer bot. Maybe they're going to try to make a hooray. Though they're putting items down over to the side.
He tried to buy the refresher, but he gave up on that. They're going in.
Oh, they're going right back in again. Can they get the kill on Crit? No, Crit's going to survive. We'll be able to take down the puck. Nico Baby fighting with Crit. Will manage to get the kill, but I think he's going to be dead. That's a GG call. Evil Geniuses taking the first game of the series.
What a game by Evil Geniuses right here in the elimination match. This first game of the series was very well executed by them. Timbersaw, Ramses, I know the panel talked all about the Darkseer, about 3-3. I know Notil, maybe he's fanboying Alliance here in this matchup for some of his personal reasons, but it's Ramses on this Timbersaw that created so much space. And when I say space, I mean he's literally standing up front, giving all the information necessary for his teammates to maneuver around him and get the pickoffs that are served on the silver platter for them.
I just think it was very, very clean Dota. You know, it was very textbook. You see that, you know, Ramses gets a good start. He just positions himself where he needs to be. And then you watch as, you know, your core Artior, he's over off, he's farming, he's getting everything done. They pair up like you said. So it just looked really, really nice for Evil Geniuses.
It's just the pace of the game. The Timbersaw completely stopped the advances of Alliance. They tried to have that very fast, very farmed Nikes in the Nico Baby. They tried to completely dominate Drow and TA with him, but Ramses was just standing in front and defending.
Well, I'll be interested to see if they're going to try to make any sort of changes, try to deal with Ramses' Timbersaw, or if they'll ban it. But for now, we're going to go to a break.